You picked it up 14 times in the last hour. You know you did. You told yourself you wouldn't. You set it face down. You even put it in another room, and somehow it found its way back into your hand. This isn't weakness. It isn't laziness. And it definitely isn't just a bad habit you haven't gotten around to breaking yet. The real reason you can't stop checking your phone is deeper than you think. And once you understand it, you'll never look at that little glowing screen the same way again. Your brain is ancient. Not metaphorically, literally. The structure doing most of your decision-making right now evolved hundreds of thousands of years before the smartphone existed. Back then, survival depended on one thing: noticing what changed. A rustle in the grass, a shift in the wind, a sound that wasn't there a moment ago. The brains that paid attention to those signals survived. The ones that didn't. You are descended from the ones that did. That instinct never left. It just found a new target. Every notification your phone makes is a change in your environment. A sound, a vibration, a light, and your ancient brain, the one built for a world full of predators and scarce resources, treats each one like it might matter. It might be danger. It might be food. It might be something your survival depends on. Your rational mind knows it's just a like on a post. Your limbic system doesn't care. This is the mechanism behind what neuroscientist Kent Berridge calls the wanting system. Berridge spent decades studying dopamine, and what he discovered turned the conventional wisdom upside down. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. It's the anticipation chemical. It fires not when you receive a reward, but in the moments before. When you think a reward might be coming, the buzz in your pocket, the unread badge on an app, the slight pause before a message loads, each one triggers a dopamine spike, not because something good happened, because something good might happen. That's not an accident. The people who design your apps know exactly how this works. BJ Fogg, a behavioral scientist at Stanford University, has spent years mapping out the exact triggers that lock human behavior into loops. A cue, a routine, a reward. When the reward is unpredictable, sometimes satisfying, sometimes empty, the loop becomes almost impossible to break. It's the same principle that keeps someone pulling a slot machine. The randomness isn't a flaw in the design. It is the design. So when you unlock your phone and scroll, hoping something interesting appears, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't, you are not weak. You are behaving exactly the way a brain exposed to a carefully engineered variable reward system is supposed to behave. And here's where it gets more uncomfortable. It isn't just the reward your brain is chasing, it's the relief from uncertainty. Because your brain hates not knowing. Research by Archie de Burker and his colleagues at University College London showed that uncertainty is more stressful than knowing something bad is coming. When you don't know whether that notification is important or irrelevant, your nervous system stays in a low-level state of alert. Checking the phone resolves that uncertainty. For a moment, the tension breaks. You feel a brief release. And because that release feels good, your brain files it away. Checking equals relief. Not checking equals discomfort. The habit deepens. Now layer on top of that the social dimension. Humans are not solitary creatures. Connection wasn't optional for your ancestors. Being excluded from the group meant death. Rejection wasn't painful in some abstract emotional sense. It was a genuine survival threat. Your brain evolved to monitor your social standing with the same urgency it monitors physical danger. And what does your phone represent? Access to your social world. Every unanswered message might mean someone is waiting. Every missed update might mean you're out of the loop. Your brain doesn't distinguish between the threat of social exclusion and the threat of a predator. Both get treated as emergencies. This is why you pick it up even when you don't want to. Even when you know nothing important is there. Even when you're sitting at dinner with people you love. The pull isn't about the phone. It's about what the phone represents to the part of your brain that is still, on some level, trying to survive. And the cruel twist is this: the more you check, the more anxious you feel. Because each scroll delivers a flood of social information your brain has to process. Comparisons, updates, opinions, other people's lives. Psychologist John Twenge, who has studied generational shifts in mental health, found a consistent link between heavy social media use and elevated rates of anxiety and loneliness, particularly among people who use devices as a substitute for in-person connection rather than an extension of it. The checking that was supposed to soothe the anxiety becomes one of its primary sources. Your phone did not hijack your brain. Your brain was already primed. The phone just arrived at exactly the right moment with exactly the right design to fit into every crack in your psychology. So what do you do with that? You don't fight the instinct, you can't. Hundreds of thousands of years of evolution don't yield to a resolution. What you do is change the cue. Put friction between your hand and the screen. Turn off the signals that trigger the wanting system, notifications, badges, the autoplay that creates anticipation before you've chosen anything. Your brain will still look for something to scan. Give it something that doesn't loop you back into the machine, and most importantly, stop blaming yourself for something that was never really in your control. Tonight, when you reach for it without meaning to, you'll know why. It's not weakness. It's not laziness. It's an ancient brain doing exactly what ancient brains were built to do. Scanning, seeking, searching for something that might matter. The question isn't why you can't stop checking your phone. The question is what your brain is actually looking for, and whether there's something more real that could give it that.